Today we won't talk about extreme hacks, we won't talk about getting up at 4 a.m. or doing ice baths. Today is about the small but powerful habits we can implement to unlock this whole new level of ourselves. Powerful habits that stack over time. Now let's get started transforming your relationship with money. Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today can we please talk about money. This month everything is around money on my coaching account and I am so stoked for you found this video because today I am going to share 10 habits that will make you rich. Now why is that and how can I say that? Well, I firmly believe the secret lies in our consistency, and we often get motivated to start a business, make that money, but motivation won't make you consistent. Motivation will help you start something, but it is the systems, the habits, and the behaviors that will make you consistent. It's the consistency that will make you successful. So let's talk about money, but not just about how much money you have, but actually also about freedom. Because real wealth is about how much freedom do you feel. Freedom to choose how you spend your time, to say yes to opportunities that come along, and freedom to say no, so to stop saying yes to things you don't want. When I talk about becoming rich, yes, we're looking on money side of things, but this is the freedom we want to unlock for you. And here's one thing I came across. People who knew how to unlock that freedom for themselves shared those three things. They manage their energy and not their time. So energy goes over time. They build systems that keep them consistent. As mentioned earlier, motivation gets you started, systems keep you consistent, and they create value outside of their 9 to 5 work. Habit number 1 I want you to get used to is to create more than you consume. Thomas Corley, the author of Rich Habits, found that 67% of wealthy people watch less than 1 hour of TV per day. So now let's say less than 1 hour of Netflix or scrolling TV, less than 1 hour of entertaining screen time. Meanwhile, 77% of those who are financially struggling watch more than an hour of TV per day. So can we please talk about the correlation there? The difference: wealthy people spend more time by creating something than by consuming. And that doesn't mean you can't ever watch Netflix or scroll on your phone, but it means asking yourself the brutally honest question: am I spending more time building my life or watching someone else living their life? For me, creating something each day started with writing a travel diary when I was backpacking. That was an easy habit to get started because there was already something happening each and every day. So I wouldn't get stuck with what could I write about. I wouldn't get stuck with how can I fill that habit. Something was happening, I wrote it down. From that creation process, an entire travel blog came to life, which then funneled into a small community project I started, which then funneled into my first business and a huge community project I ran. And this was enough evidence for me that starting with the smallest habit will eventually lead to you creating value once that habit of writing your diary sticks and stacks on top of each other. Our habit number 2 is to audit your circle. You probably know the quote that you are the sum or the average of the 5 people you surround yourself most with. And here's why it matters. People usually love to complain about money. It's one of those things we convince ourselves is out of our control. And complaining about how expensive groceries are and what bills we had and what not, it gives us a feeling of relief. If we're just saying, oh, I'll never be able to afford that, it takes some kind of a pressure off us. But the more we repeat those phrases, the more they become our reality. And here's the sneaky part. When we decide money is out of our control, we also give ourselves permission to stay where we are. And we are not here for that. We're not doing that. We are not working on ourselves to stay in our comfort zone. We kind of say, if it's out of my control, if it's out of my hands, I don't need to grow. I can just stay in the box I'm in that I've been becoming so familiar with, the box that I love. And we're not here for that. We're not doing that. We're not working on ourselves to stay within the comfort zone. So when you start listening to people who talk about solving problems, investing, how to make money work for them, or building opportunities opportunities, even if it is just through books or podcasts, you will shift your average in no time. And before you say you don't have any entrepreneurial friends around, because that's what I hear a lot in the coaching sessions I do, podcasts and YouTube channels can absolutely become your circle. They will have an influence. Everything you consume online has an influence on you. So choose wisely what you let into that circle. All the videos I'm doing on my channel, they are here to lift you higher. So if you want me in your circle, it's time to hit the subscribe button now. Now, habit number 3 is to track your I can do this moments. Your I can do this moments are a folder, a file on your phone or in your ClickUp or wherever you keep your notes, where you put every single evidence you ever find about the hard things you've conquered in life. We often think financial freedom only comes from the numbers in the bank, but honestly, it starts with self-trust. Also, the non-money related self-trust. One thing that helped me massively is keeping record of those moments where I overcame fear or where I did things I thought I couldn't be doing. Like running my first workshop or uploading my first YouTube video. But also the things that are not directly related to business milestones. Like teaching a sold-out Pilates class, asking for a pay raise, or running a half marathon or a marathon. I put all of these memories and moments into a ClickUp folder called I can do this. On the days when money feels scary or impossible, I open up that folder and looking back reminds me I have done harder and I can do this. Because if you have already done hard things, you can do hard things again. This even helps me with that motivation sometimes to at least get the first step started. Preparing this video, I procrastinated a lot. I pushed it back the entire week until I opened my motivational I can do this folder. And that was on a Saturday evening, and instantly I got reminded of all the small little successes I already had. And after that, creating this video just felt much easier. Our habit number 4 is gratitude with a money twist. Now, what do I mean by that? Gratitude is nothing cheesy. It should be part of our everyday life by now, because it is actually science. So Dr. Sophia Godkin's research shows that gratitude rewires our brain towards more happiness. Who doesn't want more happiness in life? So I started practicing gratitude through the lens of money. Not in the kind of I don't have enough, but in the kind of what did money allow me to do today? Sometimes it's a coffee with a friend, or a healthy meal. It's going traveling, or paying rent. And yes, some of those things to us sound like, well, it's normal that we have to pay rent and we have to put something onto our plate. But when you start being grateful for that again, your brain will be wired more towards happiness. So you shift from a lack of appreciation towards that happiness, which will soften up your relationship with money, the way how you think and feel about money, and it will make it easier to flow towards you. What I keep telling myself too is that money always can return. Money returns, time doesn't, has been a big mantra for me. And even if I may not be rich in the bank, I am rich because I have the education, the knowledge, the tools and strategies to always make more money. And that alone makes me rich. I can always reproduce money. And the money I reproduce in 5 years from now has the same energy I'm having right now. So, moment. What I mean by that is that these 20 Australian dollars in 5 years from now will have the exact same energy as they're having right now. Fun fact, Australian money is made from plastic. In 5 years, I can have these $20. Now I can have these $20. But right now, I could also have the experience of inviting a friend for a coffee, having a really nice chat, connecting over a beautiful conversation along the coastline, watching some whales jumping out of the water as we go for our coffee. And that memory, that experience, that energy will never ever come back. That will never ever be the same. So the point I'm trying to make is the way we make money back, it will always return in the same energy. But the energy you can invest it in now, that won't come back. Those moments are unique. And a cute little practical tip here is each time you tap your card when you're paying for something, you can just say where this is coming from, there's more from that. And that will help you start practicing that gratitude towards money. Getting a bit more practical and tangible here, automating your money is a game changer. We want to see automated savings and automated investing. There is a ton of free education out there on how to get investing started, and especially as women, please do so. I think it was Warren Buffett who said, don't save what is left after spending, spend what is left after saving. So paying yourself your savings first. Always. Depending on the frequency you are paid on, but for me it is weekly, I have set up a weekly automated transfer. Whenever money comes in, my investing and my saving goes aside. And what is left to that money, I apply another special rule because I also want to save for my future and for special goals I have. But that is the money that you basically have to deal with. Put your saving and your investing out of reach. Because it is not about being rich today, or having seasonal nice clothes, or new bed linen. Yes, we loved it and we need a little bit of play money for those little rewards. But this is also about building up freedom for the future you. And your future you will thank you so much for that if you start building that freedom right now. As mentioned earlier, especially as women, it is super important for us to know how to deal with money. So if you're interested in that, go over to my Instagram and follow me there, where I share some book recommendations, which are all about how to manage your money and to unlock your freedom. Our next habit number 6, is be specific with your goals. Yes, being rich is nice, but rich means different to each of us. So being specific means to say something like, I want to save $3,000 extra for a trip next June. Once you have the big goal, you can reverse engineer and you know exactly how much you need to put aside every week to make that goal happen. You can then also calculate your income and your outgoings and see where you can save that specific amount of money each week. I stopped being vague when I first set a clear money goal for my backpacking trip around the world. And every $50 I saved felt like I am contributing towards that goal and I was coming closer towards my goal. But that was only possible because there was a number at the end where I knew this is what I want to hit, and then I go and buy that one-way ticket. Having this huge goal and seeing that I'm working towards it also made it much easier saying no to takeaway food, to new clothes, to going to party all night long, because I knew what I was getting instead, that I was getting the satisfaction from working towards my goals instead. Habit number 7 is to learn something new about money each week. If you've been with me for a while, you know that education is a big one for me, and I'm a big believer that you should invest in your education as much as you can. And that's also a saying of Warren Buffett, the more you learn, the more you earn. One big misconception I see is that we think education is for a certain time in our lives, our 20s and maybe our early 30s, and then our education should be finished. No, you can start something new at 70 years old. You can start something new at 50 years old. Starting something new and educating yourself around that does not expire. Education is accessible to all of us on every budget. Otherwise, you would not be watching this video right now. So start educating yourself about money. For me, someone with a tight time budget, that looked like listening to a podcast while I clean or during my lunchtime. Actually scheduling in half an hour on the weekend where I have a money date with myself. And setting reminders in my calendar to keep my education up and fresh when it comes to money. You can absolutely start small. Over time, your knowledge will compound and it will build up some confidence around your money mindset. And confidence around money is priceless. Also, big tip, there are so many free audiobooks with your Spotify premium subscription. I listen to them while I cook, while I run, while I do the washing. I listen to them all the time. The next habit I want you to implement is to switch from scarcity to abundance. Easy said, hey? So your scarcity mindset is to think, I cannot afford this. And your abundance mindset is asking yourself, how could I make it possible? Because once your brain is trained to solving problems, it will love solving all problems along the way, and it will unlock one level after the next for yourself. It will find endless opportunities. So that tiny reframe of your language will open your brain to creativity instead of shutting the door. When I was starting my first business, I could not afford a big marketing budget at all. I didn't have any money for paid ads, for someone to learn me how to launch paid ads. being printed in magazines and whatnot. What I did instead was asking myself, how can I make it possible? I started sending out products for free to influencers I knew from my previous job. They started showing it on Instagram, and one of my products went extremely viral. So the answer was finding collaborations, being creative around it, finding possibilities. Those swaps ended up being way more powerful and authentic than any paid ad could ever have been. If you feel like a coaching tool here, take some time to write down 100 different ways, and you can really turn on every creative part in your brain here. 100 different ways how money can come to you. I know it will take some time at the beginning, but once you unleash your creativity, you will find so many ways how money can actually find its way to you. You will be stoked. And then once you're focused on all these different ways how money can enter your life, you will see how money starts showing up for you in those ways. Alrighty. The 9th habit here is our 1% rule. You may have heard about this one before, because you don't need an overnight change. You just need to increase what you're doing and try to be a little bit better 1% each single day. So if you increase your savings by 1% a day, or find one new way how to bring in a little bit of extra income, it will compound week by week and month by month. Now think about it. 1% of progress does not feel huge day by day or week by week. But imagine what it looks like over 12 months. And now imagine what it looks like over 3 years for everyone. Wealth builds quietly in the background of small, consistent steps. And last but not least, the yes trap. And that is a trap most of us fall into without even noticing it. The yes trap is the habit of saying yes to every single opportunity, request, coffee, favor, saying yes to everything. But if you're saying yes to everything, there's also a whole lot you're saying no to without even seeing it. On the surface, it may look like generosity or ambition, but in reality, it drains our time, our energy, and ultimately our financial opportunities. Because every yes is also a no to rest, a no to focus, a no to taking the time to building the project that will move your life forward. I do see it a lot in our society. People are exhausted, resentful, or stuck in jobs and commitments that don't really match their goals. And that's simply because saying no does feel too uncomfortable to them. When you know what you are working towards, you stop saying yes out of guilt or obligation. You start valuing your time the same way you are valuing your money. And that's one of the ways how I see it now. To me, time is more important than money, because time is freedom, and with time I can always make money. So what I want you to take from today's video is that freedom is not just in numbers. It's in your energy, your systems, and the way you create value beyond your 9 to 5. Thinking back of the 1% rule, what is one habit from these 10 habits you can start with today? You just need to start with one of them. You don't need to go and implement the whole list. Because each small shift you are making now is becoming proof that you are becoming the person who leads their money instead of letting money lead them. So let me know below which one of the 10 habits you are choosing to start implementing this week. And if you would like to dive deeper, I've linked some resources in the description. Thank you so much for joining today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!